I worked out, and the Catch and Lift Foundation really helped us all. Everyone that was in my group had made great strides from it.
I feel good. And like Cal's program is a big part of that, and all that different stuff with the Coach's Corner and having coaches or having different things. Use all of it. Whatever you need, use it to get you to where you need to be.
Thank you for tuning in to the Catch a Lift Fund's Coach's Corner podcast. We hope you enjoy today's episode and will consider supporting the Catch a Lift Fund and the veterans we serve. Visit our website for more information about our programs at catchaliftfund.org. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or suicidal thoughts, please call 988 or the Veterans Crisis Line 988, followed immediately by the number 1. The views and opinions expressed during the Coach's Corner podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the Catch a Lift Fund. The Catch a Lift Fund does not verify or warrant the truth or accuracy of statements made during the podcast, and statements therein are not to be construed as an official policy or position of the Catch a Lift Fund. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only, and nothing herein should be construed as health, medical, or other professional advice. The Coach's Corner is a place for veterans to connect, heal, and share their stories. I'm Melissa Luke, the host of the Coach's Corner podcast. I am a U.S. Army Iraq War veteran, coach, and program director for the Catch a Lift Fund. The Coach's Corner is sponsored by ID Technologies. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. Hello and welcome to the Catch a Lift Coach's Corner. I am Cal Coach and Program Director Melissa, and this week I'm honored to welcome U.S. Marine Corps veteran and Cal Coach Sarah Rudder to the show. Welcome to this week's episode of the Coach's Corner. Sarah, Welcome back to the Coach's Corner.
It's a pleasure as always.
Oh man, thank you so much for joining us again. It's always so much fun to get to talk to you. Sarah, for anybody listening that's not familiar with your story, would you please tell us just a bit about your background in military service?
So I was 17 when I enlisted in the Marine Corps, and by the age of 19, I sustained my first injuries. So I was injured twice within a 10-day period. It's actually coming up on 21 years come this Friday of my first injury. My husband and I were in an auto accident where I had to be lifelined to a hospital. I broke my scapula, my nose, my rib, and then I have a TBI. And then I reported back to duty a few days later. And on September 11th, I was being promoted to Lance Corporal. And just after my ceremony had finished, the Pentagon was hit, and I became a first and last responder. And when I was removing non-survivors, I stepped into a hole and crushed my ankle, which was already trying to heal at the time from an older injury. And from there, I just kept going on a crushed ankle, removing non-survivors. And I didn't know till the next day because my boot was holding it together. So I've had numerous reconstructive surgeries attempting to save the ankle. I've had rods, pins, my Achilles stretched and lengthened. I've had most of my cartilage from my knee removed to try and replace the cartilage that the bone was taking away. And eventually in 2014, I had my leg amputated and never looked back.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your service to our great country, and thank you for sharing that with us all today. And for anyone listening who would like to hear more from Sarah about her story, please go back and check out past episodes of the Coach's Corner. You can find her on episode 3, episode 48, episode 64. So please go listen to Sarah. So, Sarah, today we're going to be talking in general about adaptive fitness, a little bit with competition for adaptive fitness, the resources Cal has to support it. So, to kind of kick off this conversation today, Sarah, for anybody that doesn't know or doesn't understand, would you talk to us about what adaptive fitness is and who it is for?
So, adaptive fitness can be pretty much for anyone, even people with, injuries, to learn how to keep your body going while avoiding further injuring that particular body part. So we can use adaptive fitness then. And then adaptive fitness can also be for those who need to change the norm of the equipment or environment in a gym in order to adequately adapt that person so they can get the same exact energy and strength and fitness out of that workout as the next individual, even if they are missing an arm or a leg,
Right.
or have neuro difficulties. There's an adaptation to every single movement.
That's absolutely incredible, and yeah, something that I've become aware of, over these past few years is, like you just said, literally every single movement you can adapt for. It's so dang cool. So, like you shared with us earlier, Sarah, you had your amputation in 2014, so it's been like 8-ish years now for you. Uh, would you tell us a bit about your journey to adaptive fitness post injury, um, post, making that decision to amputate?
Um, so after I had made the decision to amputate, I I was heavy, and I continued to get heavy again after that. I tried to dabble in fitness, but I wasn't in the military community. I wasn't in the veteran community at
Right,
that point
right,
because I hadn't really come out and talked about what I had been through and what I had seen and done because I wasn't ready.
right.
Um, but once I stepped into the veteran community, I started opening up and sharing a little bit more, and realizing that that was part of my healing was being able to.
Right.
So um, when shoot, sorry, TBI,
You're
lost
good.
my,
You're
lost
good.
my point. What was the question?
Talk to us about that journey, post injury, post amputation in adaptive fitness.
Okay, so um, after my adaptation and I gained all the weight, I started talking to the community. I heard about Catch a Lift Fund, and I was like, well, I don't know who they are. So I researched them and I applied. And I got some equipment and I started looking at videos of how to use it. Or for me, it was very frustrating at the time because adaptive fitness wasn't a thing really.
Right, right. Yep.
And it was more like, how do I do this with what I have? So it was learning all on my own, like how to get through each movement. And after watching some videos and then going on Catch a Lift Fun website, I started seeing other athletes who
Yeah.
were missing arms, who were missing legs. And for me, that is what sparked the fire in me because I was like, okay, I'm a below knee and there's people missing multiple limbs. For me, this is a paper cut compared to what they have.
Right.
And I have no excuse. If they're going out there and pushing with every last limb that they have, I have no excuse. So at that point, I started pushing myself more and more and finding that I loved CrossFit because of being able to figure things out myself, and what worked and what didn't, and then being able to see the progress of how I was able to train myself and overcome this great diversity in our sport, and continue and become stronger mentally and physically. So it became a huge part of my life in order to heal. So once I started with Catch a Lift Fun and I had all the equipment, I started pushing and pushing, and from my heaviest until now, I've lost 100 pounds. gained about 20 in muscle.
Tremendous, Sarah.
I'm off 12 medications, and I'm actually going to my appointments, which I had every excuse in the book before not to. So for me, that is like huge.
It's incredible. True.
Yeah.
Congratulate. That is just absolutely incredible, Sarah.
I
Absolutely
appreciate
incredible.
it. Yes. But for me, it was more like I had to do something for myself because I realized that I was putting myself through so much, and I wasn't able to be strong enough for my family. And for me, that's what got me. It's like, I need to be mentally and physically strong in order to help take care of my kids and my husband. And for me, that's a big thing that I had to figure out how I was going to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, developing a schedule and maintaining that schedule and staying on that schedule became very important to me. So being able to create that schedule of my workout, my appointments, and working became like an everyday thing for me. So being able to stay on that schedule became how I was able to overcome everything and continue. I kept telling myself, I'm not going to miss a doctor's appointment. So if I schedule my workout as a doctor's appointment, then I'm going to get it done because I know this is more important than anything because of physical and mental health.
Absolutely. Sarah, and just, kind of looking back at that period, because I would have to imagine that the mental aspect was just as hard, if not harder, than the physical aspect of what you were dealing with, day in and day out, or, maybe, the mental follows the physical, but there would have to be times of, great frustration and whatnot. What pushed you through those times to stay this course, stay disciplined on that schedule you'd set for yourself, and your family, to do better by you, but when it got really dark during those years, what was it mentally that kept driving you forward?
So two things, honestly. And I would say it could be a little selfish. One was coaching other veterans and seeing them get better, get stronger, say, hey, I've lost 25 pounds or I've done this, knowing that I've been able to be a part in their life to get them to realize how strong they actually are and remain back to where they were. They're their old selves again. And being able to see that transition for me is what keeps me going. It's like I get to see them and it makes me such a proud person that they are succeeding, that's what keeps me going is them. So that's my selfish part. But then also my best friend who had committed suicide. And I would say that I pushed myself for her too, because we would work out together, we would surf together, and I think for me to push myself through every single workout in memory of her is a big thing for me too.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Sarah. So, as you just mentioned here and kind of the first part of that, you mentioned how impactful coaching has been for you, personally, getting to watch, these tremendous men and women that you've coached, find success and really be able to take pride in themselves again. Sarah, talk to us a bit about how you approach coaching adaptive CrossFit at Catch a Lift.
So once I figure out, because a lot of them won't come forth with injuries because we have that pride, like, I'll do that. I'll do that the correct way.
For sure.
It's okay to tell me that you have lower back issues or your shoulder is hurting. The thing is with that is that's where the adaptive comes in, because yes, your right shoulder is hurting. I understand that, but here are some mobility exercises we could do for that. And not only that, this is what we could do to still create that strength on all your other limbs and your core in order to make sure you're still getting that workout. So being able to let them know that there are no excuses.
Right.
And we can do it. You just, hey, this hurts. Oh, okay, I got something for you instead of just saying this hurts, so I'm going to go sit on the couch.
Yeah, we're going to can it today. Yeah.
Yep. So being able to have that option, whether it's temporary or permanent, is definitely a game changer, because they know that they can't use that excuse either. They know that they can't say this hurts because I went too hard yesterday. Oh,
Yeah.
you went too hard, so let's do this. So it's that communication is huge. And it's definitely hard, over phone or text or computer, because I can't critique technique or anything like that. But I can be as descriptive as possible. I'll show videos. I'll send videos of me doing it or anything like that, and reach out to them. So there isn't that excuse. They know that, hey, Coach Rudder is in there doing this exact same workout as me now, and they can look and see my score every single day. Oh, this is what she got. Okay, let's try and work towards this today. So they know that regardless of the workout, that I'm still doing it without a missing limb. So if they have an issue as far as a limb or injury or soreness, there's always a way around it.
Yeah. And I want to take a minute here too, just to touch on that, because you were a tremendous, you've been obviously a tremendous friend to me, but your kind of words of wisdom last year when I was recovering from my mastectomy and my training became drastically different very quickly. You were incredible motivation and support to me, and the words you would say. And so I know personally, how far that goes. And I know on the other end of it, right, as an athlete, being able to look at other people, especially, a coach as tremendous as you, with no excuses, like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I've got going on. It's nothing in the scheme of things. You still get in the gym, you still put in work, whatever you're, physically capable of that time. So thank you so much, not only for the inspiration and motivation and, all the times you pump me up along the way, to just stay the course, thank you personally, but thank you. Oh, hell yeah. Yep. Always. Yep. Thank you for doing that to all of our veteran athletes. So
purpose and not being able to being able to have purpose again was what really kicked me in the ass and was like, all right, you're not only there for yourself now that you're strong, you have to help all these other people.
Yeah, it becomes bigger than just you, right?
Right. And the thing is knowing that they are veterans and they know that I'm a veteran too, that it's okay to have those days. It's okay. And we can understand that. And they can understand that I still have my days too.
For sure.
So which is great that we can have that open communication.
That's outstanding stuff, Sarah. So you mentioned a little bit ago when we first started talking about adaptive fitness and you working with your athletes, you mentioned that like them seeing your scores. So let's talk about how they're able to do that. You utilize a tool, an app called SugarWOD. Sarah, talk to us a little bit about SugarWOD is and how you're utilizing that with your CrossFit athletes at Catch a Lift.
So SugarWOD is an app that you can obtain my programming. I program personally, and you'll have something on there every single day. It will have a warm-up, it will have a strength, it will have a workout, and then it will have a mobility. Mobility is super important. It will help.
Don't skip that one.
Not skip that. And I always tell people that's the one thing don't skip. So every day you'll have those blocks. You get to see 7 days at a time. And I just tell my athletes, pick any 3 or more if you want to challenge yourself, any 3 days and do those days. So all they have to do is click in the box. And then once they click in the box, they can log right there everything that they did. They can see how other people did in that specific movement or workout as well. You can give fist bumps, leave comments saying,
Very cool.
great job. Or they'll say, this was a hard one. And then they'll leave like puke emojis.
The puke emoji.
But it's like a place where everything remains logged. So it's not like they don't have to keep a separate logbook. I can see it immediately as they log in. Not only that, in each box, which a lot of people tend to miss sometimes, is at the end of the box in the last movement listed, it says workout prep notes in gray.
Okay. And what is that, Sarah?
Once you click on the workout prep notes, it opens up a box. And in that box, I have all the scaled workouts that you could do. Same type of movements. But let's say you can't do push-ups. Oh, you can't do push-ups? Well, I'll give you these push-ups instead, because I know you could do those.
Yep.
Or, oh, you can't do handstand push-ups? Okay, well, I'm going to have you do this instead. But we're going to get you there slowly, just how I did, slowly. There's no way I would be able to, my first day, get my fat butt up on that wall and do a handstand push-up. But slowly I got there by step. So I'll give them all the options. So they can't look at the workout and say, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not doing it. Nope. I'm going to give you 2 options of how you can do that. And then I put all the videos in there too, so they can see everything. There is absolutely no excuse. Oh, you don't have a rower? Oh, okay, instead of a rower, you could do swim, you could do bike, you can do jog, you could run, pick your option. So, or it's a sandbag. Oh, you don't have a sandbag? Get a backpack, put a bag of rice in there, call it a day, let's go. So I have tons of options in there, tons of videos to make sure that there is no excuse or hesitation to not do it because they can't do a certain movement. And then if they cannot physically do that certain movement, they'll reach out to me and then I'll assign the adaptive movement.
Wonderful. And not to shift gears here, because they'll end up kind of merging together on us, but another tool that you use, Sarah, with your athletes is WheelWOD. Talk to us first. What is WheelWOD and how are you utilizing that programming with your athletes?
So, good question. WheelWOD was created by 2 of my friends. One was actually a professional CrossFitter back in the day, his Ogar. And in his competition, able-bodied, he dropped the bar behind him, just as anyone would, and stepped forward. But unknowing, there was another bar behind him, fell over the bar in a freak accident and became paralyzed, high chest down. And the other one has been in a wheelchair, and he's been programming for disabled athletes for a long period of time. So being able to collaborate those 2 minds and putting them together, one who's been in a wheelchair for a very long time, one who's kind of a fresh wheelchair user, and then bringing their love of the sport together and creating ideas of how we can get these people in wheelchairs or missing limbs to do these workouts. So there's an area for WheelWOD that will separate the workouts based on if they're missing an arm, a leg, if they're in a wheelchair, high hip, low hip, if they're, or high chest, low hip. Or if they have neurological issues, MS, CP, severe traumatic brain injuries, there's programming for that. So given the fact that this is finally there, they have broken down the workouts depending on injury.
Incredible.
And I can go in and grab their workout and attach it to somebody in SugarWOD who needs to adapt a certain way. And I'll give them that workout that is specifically designed and catered to their injury. So WheelWOD has been a great tool And they are making videos and things like that because there's not a lot of that out there as far as disabled athletes doing specific movements. So they are creating a huge video log, especially for the CrossFit Games, to be able to cater to these athletes.
Yeah, it's absolutely tremendous what they've got going on over at WheelWOD, and they've really blown the doors off the barn right of adaptive fitness. It's been so cool to see. Sarah, speaking specifically to what you've seen as a coach, how have you seen your athletes benefit from utilizing these tools such as SugarWOD and the veterans that use the WheelWOD programming?
So for these veterans, some are unsure or don't know how to log a specific workout. Logging is very important because it allows you to know which weights you use, how many reps you used in a specific movement. So that way you can reflect back on that movement from when you first started and log your progress as you go. So that way, let's say I have, I start off with a PR of 100-pound deadlift, and that's my first time. Well, when I go, let's say 3 months from now, I'm going to try to do my max deadlift again. You have to be able to go back and look at that number so you can add smartly. So that way you're not loading 200 pounds on the barbell to start. So the app will automatically break it down by percentage, showing, hey, the last time you had was 100 pounds at 100%. So at 80%, it's this. So let's try and get a bunch of reps at 80% and work that 80%. So it allows you to be able to not think. You don't have to break down the weight or anything yourself. The app automatically does it for you.
Very cool.
So logging is very important, being able to look back to see your gains. So that way you also know that, hey, it's actually working, so let's keep going.
Yeah. That's very cool. Sarah, for anybody listening, and you could even speak to the veteran community in particular, any veterans that are listening who are really struggling to get their fitness journey started post-injury, what would you say to them?
For me, I had a lot of excuses not to do it. I had a lot of reasons why I was too busy not to do it. I had a lot of pain to not do it. But once I started, I realized that it's more of a benefit for, I would say, your mental state of mind, because every time you go to the gym or you push yourself, you're allowing your endorphins to increase, and you're getting blood flow into your body, and you're getting that rage, that energy, that sadness, that fear, that you're letting all that out in the gym. So that way when you go home, you're not taking it out on yourself.
Right.
You're not taking it out on your family.
Yep.
You're learning how to use that energy and put it into something positive. And for me, I'm not even going to lie, it was a struggle. Every single day was a struggle.
Yeah.
But once it became a habit and I learned that this is working, it's benefiting me, I'm actually doing better, I'm feeling better, then I knew that I had to keep it up. And it became more of an addiction to me, a very positive and very good addiction of making sure that I'm taking care of myself so I can create a strong base and be able to take care of others. Because if I'm weak or have a weak base and somebody needs me, I can't help. So for me to have that strong base and remain a strong person is very important. And being a veteran, I still do have my bad days.
Right.
I still do have my nightmares, and I still have all of everything that goes along with being a veteran. But it's how I react and how I respond and how I get through my day is the way I'm going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it in a negative way. I'm not going to pick up pills. I'm not going to sit on the couch. I'm not going to pick up a bottle of liquor. I
Yeah,
have these
right.
tools
Mhm.
now that I could just go in the gym, leave all my shit at the door, and put it all out there. And for me, that is what I needed. And to know that I was able to take care of myself, um, I now can help others as much as I can. And for me, that was huge. Being able to help my fellow brothers and sisters was huge for me. And I couldn't do that unless I was strong myself.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you for speaking on that, Sarah. So you are a quite seasoned and very decorated competitive athlete yourself. Um, and something that's just incredibly awesome, and it's really picked up over the last couple years in particular, is the amount of opportunities available to adaptive athletes to compete. Would you talk to us just a little bit, Sarah, about some of the opportunities for adaptive athletes to compete?
So we actually talk about wheel wad. So wheel wad actually has its own competition too. Um, what you do is most of the qualifiers for these competitions are online.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah.
which is great. All
Yep.
you have to do is stick a video camera in front of yourself. That way they can see you're doing all the reps, you're doing them correctly, and everybody could see your video too. So you submit your video so that way they can see your reps and your disability.
Okay. Yep.
So there's wheel wad. Then there's the CrossFit Games. They recently have come out with an adaptive division in the last 2 years. It still needs a lot of work, and that's why I decided not to push myself to go this year. I went the previous year, but for me, advocating was more important this year.
Yep.
So with that being said, hopefully things will change for the better. But again, it's 2 years, so we're trying.
Right. Right. Yep.
But then there's also a lot of competitions, even strongman and CrossFit are both adding adaptive divisions in their competitions because there is so many of us that they didn't realize are out there that are actually doing things behind closed doors. But now they're giving us a platform to finally
Absolutely.
look what we could do. So it's not a level platform just yet, but eventually it will be.
Right. Right. And just like that, and like you're saying, as more and more of these opportunities, open up across, we'll just call it greater strength sports, like it improves all of them, right?
Right.
So something though, Sarah, that is very difficult for people, and whether you're an adaptive athlete or not, just in general, there's a mental component to competing, right? And people oftentimes, I think, psych themselves out and just they psych themselves out and they become just too afraid to do it. They think people are going to be staring at them in a certain way, or just kind of this fear that I'm not strong enough. Um, Speak to anyone listening, Sarah, that's hesitant to compete.
So that was a huge decision for me to actually decide to compete. And I felt like for me, out of all the work, out of all the hours, out of all the hard work that I've put in and the hours of training, it had to amount to something. And
Yeah.
for me, it was like, how do I know how strong I am as an athlete if I'm continued to be compared to people with all their limbs? There's just no comparison.
Yeah.
And for me, it was very hard to step outside that box and say, no, we're disabled, but we can still do stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So once more athletes started to come out, and I was able to say, all right, there's a level playing field that's starting. Let me see where I stand. I did not think I was going to make it at all because, again, I had no idea where I stood in this sport because
Yeah.
there was no competition that could be compared at the time. So I made it, surprisingly, and I couldn't believe it. And I went and I had Melissa as my coach, amazing coach there.
Thank you.
And for me, I'm not going to lie, it was hard. There were hard moments of having to deal with anxiety and PTSD issues. I passed out a couple times. But but for me, it was like I had to keep telling myself that you could do this. You work so hard, and this is your way to prove that there are athletes like me out there that can do this. There's that little 13-year-old or 12-year-old watching the TV and seeing the games, and they were born without a limb, and they know that, hey, look what I could possibly do.
Absolutely.
And for me to be able to go out there and show them that it is possible was very important. But I would also like to get even the adult athletes, the veteran athletes, all of them to know that even if they are missing a limb or have a severe TBI, that there are things out there that you can do, and you can get stronger, and then you can also just see how strong you are actually capable of by being able to get on this level playing field and push yourself.
Heck yeah. It's so awesome. And it's been so great just seeing all these opportunities open up. And it seems like quicker and quicker here, more and more are popping up. Thank you for speaking to that, Sarah, and talking on competing. I do have one last question for you today. Sarah, what does it mean to you to be coaching CrossFit for Catch a Lift and leading from the front?
To be honest, it's everything. Catch a Lift Fun has given me my purpose and my life back. So I honestly will do anything for Catch a Lift Fun. They know that I'm always there 100% of the time. Whatever I could give, I give. And for me, it is extremely important to know that as a coach, I am reliable. So I want them to know that I'm not going to give up on them. And that is extremely important to me, to know that, yes, you can give me an excuse today, but tomorrow we're not having it.
Yeah.
So them to know that I'm there for them, even when they're falling behind or even when they're succeeding, is extremely important to me, because you can't say I got your 6 if you're not really going to have it.
Right.
So for me, I'm in it 100% of the time.
There is not a more true statement than that. You are in it 100% of the time. Sarah, thank you so very much for the awesome, strong light that you share to all of us on a daily basis, on behalf of myself and all the veteran athletes that you continue to inspire. Thank you so very much, Sarah. So great talking to you again today. That's it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. We will return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern Time with another episode. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing your knowledge and your light with us all today. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you to ID Technologies for your support of this podcast. Thank you to Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, and Kaylee Nassiri for all of the work you do week after week to make this podcast possible. And we thank the entire Catch a Lift team. Don't forget to join us every Wednesday live at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube for a chance to win Cal Swag and to chat with your brothers and sisters. Until next week, keep it real and stay Cal strong.